A night that changed everything. It was May 24th, 1996, the start of Memorial Day weekend in San Luis Obispo, California. The students of California Polytechnic State University, Cal Poly, were out enjoying a warm spring night, celebrating the end of the semester with parties, laughter, and music. Among them was Kristin Smart, a 19-year-old freshman with big dreams and an adventurous spirit. She had a passion for travel, a contagious energy, and a bright future ahead of her. But Kristin never made it home that night. The last known person to see her, Paul Flores, a fellow student whose name would be etched in suspicion for decades. For over 25 years, Kristin's disappearance remained a mystery. There was no body, no crime scene, and no arrest. Only whispers, unanswered questions, and one man who refused to tell the truth. That is, until 2021, when investigators uncovered disturbing new evidence. After all these years, had they finally found what they were looking for? And why did it take so long for Paul Flores to be held accountable? Let's unravel the mystery of Kristin Smart's disappearance. A case filled with lies, deception, and a family's relentless fight for justice. Kristin wasn't planning to go out that Friday night. She hadn't made any set plans, but when she heard about a house party on Crandall Way, she decided to join. It was one of the last big parties before summer break, and many students were heading home for the holidays. She left her dorm without her wallet, ID, or keys, a detail that would later become crucial. The party was loud, crowded, and filled with students letting loose. Kristin, known for her outgoing nature, was socializing, laughing, and having a good time. But as the night progressed, something changed. Witnesses later recalled that Kristin appeared disoriented and unstable, far more than what could be explained by drinking alone. Some suspected that she may have been drugged. By 2 a.m., as the party was winding down, Kristin was seen passed out on the lawn outside the house. She was unable to walk on her own. That's when Paul Flores stepped in. Paul Flores had been watching Kristin all night. Other partygoers later said he seemed fixated on her, trying to dance with her, get close to her, and making her uncomfortable. At one point, Kristin was seen trying to avoid him, but by the end of the night, Paul was the only one offering to help her. Two other students, Cheryl Anderson and Tim Davis, were leaving the party at the same time. They saw Kristin struggling to stand, so they helped her walk home. But Paul insisted on taking over. Cheryl later said that Kristin leaned heavily on Paul for support, barely able to walk. When they reached a certain point, Cheryl and Tim said their goodbyes and left, leaving Kristin alone with Paul. That was the last time anyone saw her alive. Paul later told authorities that he walked Kristin to her dorm, said goodnight, and left. From the very beginning, Paul acted suspiciously. When police questioned him, his story kept changing. First, he said he walked Kristin to her dorm. Then, he changed his story, claiming he only walked part of the way before leaving her to go alone. Even more alarming, Paul had a black eye. When asked how he got it, he gave multiple explanations. First, he claimed he got it playing basketball. Later, he said he hit his head on a car steering wheel. Investigators searched his dorm room, but it was too late. Students had already left for summer break. The room had been cleaned out, but one thing stood out. When cadaver dogs were brought in, they immediately reacted to Paul's mattress, detecting the scent of human decomposition. Despite this, no arrest was made. Why? Because Kristin's body was missing. The Smart family's relentless fight while investigators struggled to find evidence. Kristin's family never gave up. Stan and Denise Smart pushed authorities, contacted media outlets, and refused to let Kristin's name fade. They were met with roadblocks at every turn. For years, the case went cold. Paul Flores continued living his life freely, moving from place to place, while the Smart family was left in agony. Then in 2020, something changed. Authorities had new leads, and this time, they weren't backing down. After 25 years of frustration, they made a shocking discovery. Paul Flores and his father, Ruben Flores, had been hiding a dark secret. What happens next? For more than 2 decades, the Smart family waited for answers. Leads came and went, but justice remained out of reach. Then, in 2020, investigators received a crucial tip, one that would finally break the case open. Authorities began re-examining the Flores family home in Arroyo Grande, where Paul had grown up. This wasn't the first time they had searched the property, but this time they had advanced forensic tools and a clearer focus. Using ground-penetrating radar and cadaver dogs, investigators honed in on a specific area under the deck of Paul's father, Paul Flores' house. The soil had been disturbed, as if something had been buried and then moved. What they found was shocking. Traces of human remains and biological evidence were detected in the soil, strongly suggesting that Kristin's body had been buried there at some point before being moved. The missing piece of the puzzle had finally been uncovered. On April 13th, 2021, nearly 25 years after Kristin Smart vanished, authorities made their move. The Smart family finally saw justice in motion, but the pain remained. Kristin was still missing, and Paul refused to talk. At the press conference, Sheriff Ian Parkinson stated, "We have not yet recovered Kristin. We will not stop until we bring her home." For the first time in years, hope was alive, but the legal battle was just beginning. On April 13th, 2021, nearly 25 years after Kristin Smart vanished, authorities made their move. Paul Flores was arrested at his home in San Pedro, California, and charged with Kristin's murder. His father, Paul Flores, was also arrested and accused of helping to hide Kristin's body. The Smart family finally saw justice in motion, but the pain remained. Kristin was still missing, and Paul refused to talk. At the press conference, Sheriff Ian Parkinson stated, "We have not yet recovered Kristin. We will not stop until we bring her home." For the first time in years, hope was alive, but the legal battle was just beginning. The Smart family had spent 25 years searching for the truth, enduring heartbreak, frustration, and countless dead ends. But despite Paul's conviction, Kristin's remains have never been recovered. Her parents, Stan and Denise Smart, continue to fight for answers. They've pushed for new searches and new investigations, and are determined to bring Kristin home. Kristin's case also led to real change. In California, a new law called the Kristin Smart Campus Safety Act was passed, requiring universities to immediately report violent crimes to law enforcement, ensuring that no family has to go through what the Smarts did. Kristin's story is a painful reminder of the dangers women face and the importance of never giving up on the truth. But the final chapter has yet to be written. Paul Flores is now serving 25 years to life, but he still refuses to reveal where Kristin's body is. Despite the conviction, many believe this case isn't truly over until Kristin is brought home. The Smart family